Hello, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. I'm back here. I am Mahle Tayela, your host at Connect Africa. We are bringing you the latest from the continent, and particularly as we are following what's happening in the Sahel states. Now, the latest what we have is that Ivory Coast, led by Alassane Ouattara, has asked officially Donald Trump to deploy 2 U.S. military aircraft on a permanent basis in Ivory Coast. And this will be by the border with Mali and Burkina Faso, where they say there is a terrorist group, Al Qaeda, ISIS, and this and that. But now, what's happening in the Sahel states or in West Africa in general is it is leading to somewhere, it's leading the region to some kind of unprecedented era of our time. This is really crazy. The things that are happening since last Sunday, the coup in Benin, and then Nigeria's intervention in Benin in the name of thwarting the coup, and then Nigeria's Air Force violating the airspace of Burkina Faso. On the next day, the detention of the military by the Sahel as the landing of Nigeria's military airplane was a forced one on an emergency basis. The two are on a discussion. And now that we have Ivory Coast is inviting the US or asking Donald Trump to have to deploy 2 U.S. military aircraft in Ivory Coast with its border with the Alliance of the Sahel States. I mean, how crazy it is. It makes you to question what is going on. Even something that I did not mention, like a week ago, we also have the fake coup in in Guinea-Bissau. Now let's get into it. First of all, with regards to the Ivory Coast request to deploy that U.S. military air force is that aircraft. This is how it goes. Look, Cote d'Ivoire asks Trump to deploy 2 American reconnaissance aircraft on a permanent basis. The Ivorian authorities have officially appealed to the Trump administration with a request for the permanent deployment of 2 American Beechcraft King Air 350 reconnaissance aircraft in the country. The planes are designed to monitor the security situation in northern Cote d'Ivoire and in the border areas with Mali and Burkina Faso, where jihadist groups linked to Al Qaeda and ISIS are active. According to 2 senior Ivorian officials, a technical agreement has already been reached between the countries, and questions remain about timing and format of the deployment. A decision is expected in 2026. The White House and Pentagon has so far refrained from commenting. The Ivorian Ministry of Defense also declined to make official statements. The requests reflect the growing concern of West African countries about the spread of the terrorist threat from the Sahel. Well, this is the request of Ivory Coast to deploy that U.S. military aircraft concern. It's a growing concern of where West African countries are going, what is cooking, who is after what. So far, we have seen the French government through its enabler, Bola Tinubu, being active in the region, despite that they were kicked out by the Sahel states in the past 4 years from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Also, we have seen them being kicked out from Senegal, Ivory Coast, and Chad, although the last three that I mentioned are kind of trying to, to satisfy the sentiment of their citizens' request, their citizens who are watching them, who are watching the Sahel states, and who want their states also, their government to do the same, so that to prevent any uprising from the people, what they are doing is, to ask the French military to leave. These are Chad, Ivory Coast, and Senegal. But is it a genuine one? Is it really seeking an a full independence, cutting the ties with their colonial masters. No, not really, because we have seen them again and again invade. In fact, some of them, or all of them, except Senegal, inviting them back. Like Chad, we have seen them inviting them back, the US military. And then also we have Ivory Coast, we have seen still, although they say, I mean, on a news, it came out, it was in the beginning of this year, January and February 20 to be exact, that the French military base, they have, hand over the main military base known as Bowie or something, back to the Ivorian authorities or the Ivorian security headquarters, the security head. But Ivory Coast again hosted those French military who are kicked out from the Sahel states, and still their territory is used to train the terrorists whom the government of the Sahel states are telling us. Those terrorists are the same terrorists sponsored by the French government and then to come attack the Sahel states. This is all the story. It gives you who Ivory Coast it is. Then you will not be surprised or wondered why Ivory Coast is inviting now this. The thing is, for me, the magnitude of it, how a next fuel is added up to the situation, because for me it tells me that there is something, a bigger mission to be achieved in this region, and it's not yet done yet, but they are doing it anyway. Now I tell you, in general, in our continent, we have seen, first of all, look, three things I want to say. Number one, there was a direct colonization, and then when African a direct colonization in against African countries by Europeans, and then we have seen the neo-colonization in general by the West government, including the US and Europe together, and then we also have seen African governments enabling the colonial masters, still providing them the resources of the country with corruption, giving them, extracting the minerals, the resources from the country in the name of fund and aid. And then, in the back door, something that's not disclosed to the public, they give them valuable things of the country. This is what we know. Now, what we are seeing is actually African governments are directly invading a next African country through, of course, with the direction and instruction given by those colonial masters who have been kicked out, and including in general the Western, who still continue manipulating and neo-colonizing the continent. This is what we are seeing. I mean, the incidents that we have seen, what Ivory Coast, for example, giving a shelter to the coup plotters against Burkina Faso directly, and then Nigeria intervening in Benin, deploying forces, gathering up the ECOWAS. They're all doing. Europe don't need to send its military anymore. Look, we are doing it to our own brothers against brothers. What kind of stage we have reached? Instead of fully emancipating our territory, our sovereignty, our economy, we are going a direction of, our governments are, these political rulers are not even, they don't even have a shame at all. They are requesting, look, the European governments, the US, they are all telling you at the request of this and that. What did Macron tweeted or posted on X on Sunday? What did he say? He said, at the request of Bola Tinubu, we are engaging and supporting what Nigeria is doing. This is what he told you. But of course, that is not how the phone conversation went, of course. Now, look at Ivory Coast. At the official request of Alassane Ouattara, they are asking for a permanent deployment of 2 US military aircraft in their country. What is going on? I mean, we have reached to the worst instead of emancipating ourselves, okay? That is one. Now, number two, you see, there are those real coups that happen, or revolution in the Confederation of the Sahel States in its members, like Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. But the coup we have seen in Guinea-Bissau, of course, it was a fake coup, and then the Benin one. Those are staged coup. Guinea-Conakry itself, it was a staged coup. Those governments are again working together with the Western powers, with their colonial masters. Even those who claim that they are democratically elected, like Senegal, like Ivory Coast, like Chad. These countries, although they copied and they did an election, which is a fake election. And then they also copied the Sahel state to kick out the French military. But it was all just a fake thing. As you all see them again engaging with their colonial masters and continuing doing the same thing that's not in the interest of their people. So there's this real coup and versus fake coup thing. Now, number 3, you see that the French military and the US military being kicked out from the Western African states, from the Sahel states, like Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. But now what you have is an African military, a certain country, deploying a military, African military, in the next African country. Those, even if they are kicked out, actually you save them lives. Their soldiers should not, give their lives. Why should they? I mean, when a next African country can deploy in the next African country, I mean, we just have made things easier for them. What a shame, really. Me reading this, it's just disgusting to the point that I can't even, explain. I can't even fathom this. What really drives these political rulers to do so? But for the fourth point, before I I conclude this video, is that all in all, it tells us there's something bigger coming in the Sahel state, and we need to remain being alerted. Zosco in Guinea-Bissau, in Benin, even the violation of the airspace, if you just connect the dot, there is a bigger thing, and that's yet to be seen. Let us know in the comment section, what do you think of this? Hi, Catherine, Mohammed Ali, child of God. Don't forget, Bola Tinubu is working. Yeah, war is coming. It's all about, definitely, what I am sad is that it's against the Sahel states. Those are the countries they want to remove. Now, I want to share this something that one of our, regular viewer and commentator here on our videos says, look, what the system does not tolerate is 2 things. First of all, any anti-white capitalism. Number 2, independence. Any independence, that means any divergence from the empire's geopolitical position. For example, you have BRICS also separating yourself and joining, maybe allying with Russia and China. Now, if you check these 2 things, of course, the Sahel states, exactly what they are doing is, although it's not directly really building anti-white capitalism, but it's Africa first, it's a pan-Africanism. So, and also it's pro-Black people. These 2 things, definitely, you can check, like they tick the box, right? So the West, or the system right now, although we are entering a multipolar system, kind of, but still the one who is still ruling that system does not tolerate these two things, and the Sahel states do tick that box, and they want them to be removed unless we do something. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that so far. You can support us through our PayPal account that you can find it in the description section. If you find it relevant and informative, please give it a like and share the video with others. Thanks again, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.